everybody. Welcome back to the Damn Yankees podcast produced by Seven Ashes Productions. It is Monday, April 22nd, and this is episode 45. My name is Megan. That is my brother Ryan, and down there is our baseball dummy Cliff.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello, everyone. So we are fresh off of the Yankees losing to the A's, so today might be
So we might be a
frustrated.
little down bad today.
Yeah, we might be a little more down bad than our 15-8 record would suggest. But so the Yankees are 15-8. They have again split the last 4 games since we last potted, so they're still 500 since the last pod. 2-2. They dropped 1 game against the Tampa Bay Rays from the Friday through Sunday series, and then like I just said, they dropped the first game to the Oakland A's today. They have 3 more to play against the terrible Oakland Athletics that made us look like we're the terrible ones. The
standings still look great. I mean, it's just the Orioles ahead of the Yankees.
So see, yeah, as of yesterday, though, the Orioles were not ahead of the Yankees. Have they played yet today? Probably not. They probably, because they were a half game. Yeah, they were a half game back yesterday, so they're a half game up today. We'll see. I don't know who they're playing, but we play the Orioles next week. They
play the Angels tonight at 9:40. So in 40 minutes, they will start playing.
All right. Well, we'll see if the Angels
they'll be a game and a half ahead of us today. Oh, I'm sorry.
Still top 2.
Yeah, I mean, right now I guess I don't typically pay attention to the standings as much. As we get into May, I typically start looking at the standings. There's so much changing that goes on around now. But we're going to start off first because we'll get into some other stuff and probably just keep ranting. We're going to start off by talking about Boone's ejection today, within the first 5 minutes, if that, of the game.
First 5 pitches of the game, I think.
Something. It was the second batter.
Fastest. It was his quickest ever ejection.
Yeah, I think I read that he's been ejected 35 times since joining the Yankees. And this
3
is by
times in the
so far
first
this
inning.
year. Oh, 3 times in the first inning? Really?
But this is the first time in the top of the first.
Okay.
Yeah, and this one had some notes of Brett Gardner.
Oh, yeah, that's how I described it to Cliff, because this was because with Brett Gardner and Cameron Maybin, I don't remember what year that, but I think I talk about it all the time because it was just hilarious when Gardner got thrown out. I think we talked
about it on last pod or 2 pods ago?
Could have been. Yeah, it was very recent that he was, he got thrown out because of something someone else said in the dugout. Yeah.
But this time it wasn't even...
It wasn't even the dugout this time. So quick recap of what happened for those that didn't watch today while they were at work. Rodon pitched, whatever pitch it was, again, a slider, maybe, I don't know. It came, down and cut right back and hit the batter's back foot. And during, while it's hitting his back foot, he also, took a half swing. So the first base ump immediately says, nope, no swing, and batter starts going down, and Boone has an objection to that, and he's like, whoa, wait, well, did he actually, hang on, I look like he swung to me. Now, whether or not somebody swung is not a challengeable call. That is an umpire discretion call, so it doesn't matter
how... the first base umpire made the call. That's it. Usually that's it.
That's it. You take he said no swing, there's no swing. Boone has an opinion about it, but he quickly kind of shuts up. The second batter comes in, and I think before he can get another pitch out, Boone starts kind of saying something along the lines of, you could have made that call, Hunter. Hunter is the home plate umpire. And he's telling you could have made that call. And he yells back at Boone that he did his damn job and that he was looking at the batter and whether or not he got hit by the pitch and the first base. And then he basically says shut up, or that's it. Or I'm tossing
say, that's it.
This is your warning. That's it. One more thing, you're gone. And Boone, he's okay. he kind of puts his hands up. Okay, he stands on his little perch on the top of the dugout step and proceeds to, he literally like looks at his hand as if checking out his newly French manicure, and he looks at his hand and he's not saying a word. The yes mics or yes cameras are trained on him right now, and nothing. And all of a sudden, I guess, Hunter, the home plate umpire, just throws him out, and Boone goes ballistic because he didn't say anything. Come to find out, it was a fan behind him that
Which
said
they could
something.
See it too.
They can see it on the S cameras. Now, the umpire can't see this, but that's what Boone is saying. Like, I didn't say anything. It was a fan. I didn't say anything. And
the smallest man who ever lived said, I don't care.
Yes, and on everyone, as I'm watching it at work. I've got my earbud in at work, and I'm trying to look through medical records, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, like I'm trying to keep my cool.
I don't care who said it.
I don't care who said it, Aaron. You're gone. It was like, whoa. And everyone and their mother heard it because it was very clear as day on the broadcast. So
I mean, there was John Boyd does his breakdowns, and he did a breakdown of this, and it was like there wasn't really much to break down.
No, you could hear everything.
Like usually he does all like he fills in, like he does good lip reading, and so he does that usually on each breakdown, but there was no needing it on this one.
Yeah, the only place he needed to read lips, I guess, was for the fan himself, and you can see him say, I guess he's just says, "Let's go home plate," and that's all he says. He doesn't even say anything awful about him or anything. Just says, "Let's go home plate." And as soon as he says that, he's ejected. Now, I guess we would be poor pseudo journalists here if we didn't give the response from.
I was going to say,
the home plate umpire.
Speaking of the smallest man alive, I mean, the ump show was on full display both during the game and after.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I think you already got it up. But yeah, I mean, it was just a terrible response.
Boone was rightfully upset. He's ejected for saying literally nothing. He has the most ejections of any manager, or like at a certain time period. He's got a lot of ejections, like totally heard, but this was completely unfounded. And so the umpire says, Aaron Boone's the manager of the New York Yankees and is responsible for everything that happens in that dugout. I don't want to eject a ball player. We need to keep them in the game. That's what the fans pay to see. Aaron Boone runs the Yankees. He got ejected. More from Hunter. Apparently, what he said was there was a fan right above the dugout. This isn't my first ejection.
Apparently.
Yeah, apparently what he said is there's a fan right above the dugout. This isn't my first ejection. I wasn't born yesterday. In the entirety of my career, I have never ejected a player or a manager for something a fan has said. So, like, he's completely
did this time.
Right, because he's never done it before. Yeah, like, I understand that's going to be part of a story or something like that, because that's what Aaron was portraying. So basically, just saying he's making it up.
Did anybody tell him, like, no? No one's making it up. We know.
We have it on tape.
We have it on camera. See it.
But no, from his perspective, he says, I heard something come from the far end of the dugout, had nothing to do with his area, but he's the manager of the Yankees, so he's the one that had to go. So it's like he's responsible for what happens with his team. So I just found that funny. So it's like, so the fans really are part of the team now, then, huh? So we can say we. Like, it is a we won.
There you go. We won.
I'm gonna make a shirt.
Confirmed.
I'm gonna make a shirt. I don't care who said it, Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, like, how do you say that? I mean, just like with Aaron Hernandez, this is gonna go nowhere. That's the last we're gonna hear from it. Probably, maybe.
Angel Hernandez.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. Angel Hernandez is only murdering baseball.
Yes, you're. Oh God. There's too many Aarons in this sport. Sorry. Yes, Angel Hernandez. Completely. Angel Hernandez again is a very nice person. We don't want to get mixed with Aaron Hernandez. So as bad of an umpire as Angel is, he's not Aaron.
Quite they're actually quite the opposite, right? Because Angel Hernandez is terrible at his job, but a very nice person. Aaron Hernandez was really good at his job.
Yeah,
But
enjoyed
was an
those
awful
Gator
person.
years.
Like one of the worst.
Awful people. Sorry, not funny.
Evil Hernandez.
So just like Angel Hernandez is bad and won't get punished for his bad calls, Hunter Wendelstadt, what is his name?
Something crazy.
He is not. We're not going to hear about this again. I'm sure the Yankees are going to put in a complaint to Major League Baseball about this. I mean, Boone, part of his little rant as he's going off the stage is like, "You guys are in trouble." He did kind of sound like kind of a Karen as he's walking off the ice of the stage, but off the field. But he's like, "You're going to be in trouble. You all are going to be in trouble." So I'm sure that they will report it in whatever fashion that they have to, but Hunter Wendelstadt is he's a tenured ump. Like, he's been around forever, and they
kept saying it during the game too. It's like there's got to be something that comes down from this, and it's like, but what? Like, what will they do?
What? The
like we just talked about last week how Aaron Angel Hernandez had the worst call in umping history. Nothing happened to him.
Nothing happens to him.
He's still umping.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you guys, we're gonna say the wrong name enough times, and his ghost is gonna show up.
Oh no, it's like Beetlejuice. That'd be bad. There really is nothing that's gonna happen. I mean, everyone's like, he should be fired right now, and I don't know if he needs to be fired right now, but like regardless, he's not going to be fired.
He should get a suspension, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, if this was reversed, I mean, not that players can throw out umpires, but if there was something reversed and egregious.
Aroldis Chapman got suspended for 2 games, and I watched the whole thing, and it was like, for what? He must have said something horrendous. I think that's what I said. I was like,
as much as I don't like Aroldis Chapman, there was nothing that really happened there that wasn't
I expected to see he shoved the umpire to the ground.
Me too. I was expecting some contact, because that's usually doesn't matter. You made contact, so suspension, even if it was unintended. And so but no, 2-game suspension. He might, like you said, must have said something horrendous, because otherwise there's nothing in that video. But Hunter Wendelstadt will be, in the field tomorrow. He won't be replaced. He will continue to ump behind the plate, I'm sure. So, there's no accountability on the other end of this, which I think is what gets people extremely frustrated.
It is very frustrating. And I think that, there has to be something that's done between, the umpire, the baseball player union is out there, the Players Association is out there, but they don't stop the league from giving them suspensions. Why are the umpires any different? Sure, have your umpires union, your association, or whatever that vouches for you, but
when there's an egregious call,
when something happens, something should happen.
And I would even say this is much more egregious than what Angel Hernandez did. Thank you. What Angel Hernandez did, because that was yes, he missed the pitcher. He missed a call. He missed and Hunter, he missed a gajillion calls, called strikes today. His strike zone is wide, but it benefited both sides. So on some level, you can't complain when it's at least consistent. He was just bad at calling those outside strikes. But this was this was make it about me. When
it becomes the ump show, that's where it becomes an issue with me. When Angel Hernandez does his stuff, I don't get upset with. I get upset with his terrible calling, and we had 2 pods recently that show that. But what always gets you more frustrated of why is this guy is when he throws people out for complaining about
their own behavior,
behavior. Yeah. That's where the issue is. Like, my issue more with Angel Hernandez was more about how he treated Heel on the mound,
I was
just
going to say the
because
same
of the
thing
way he like
with
shook his head.
and
Yeah.
that I was going to say the same thing. That irritated me more about, Angel Hernandez going
Like,
out
I
and being like,
expect Angel Hernandez to have the worst call.
for sure. It's just,
And like when I saw that was the worst call, like literally I saw it pop up like the worst call in MLB umpiring history.
so
I was
bad.
like, well, it makes sense that it was Angel Hernandez.
Had to be him. Had to be him. Yeah.
But yeah, these type of things make me more frustrated about why umpires aren't suspended, because that's where
This
it
is
becomes an
egregious
issue
and
of you're
ridiculous.
making this about you. Umpires, like, I shouldn't know who the hell Hunter Widgels Snap is. You know,
Sounds like one of the treats from Aldi, the little ginger, some German treat.
I
but
do
it's like an
use,
offensive lineman, you know,
Yeah.
I
like
do want
an
to
offensive lineman in football.
I
Sorry.
do want to like use an unnecessary German accent when I hear his name, like Wendelstadt.
It probably is. It probably was supposed to be spoken that way, but yeah.
See, we're on the very top. It says HP Hunter.
Not German.
No. Oh.
No, because if it were Wendelstadt, it'd be an A, not an E at the end. I'm not saying it's not Germanic.
Are we doing some etymology here?
I'm not saying it's not Germanic. It's just not
We're
Germanic.
English pod right now.
We are an English pod. Regardless, I think your point is we shouldn't know who this is, and we shouldn't know your name.
Who it is,
Yeah,
Yeah, they always say like you don't like an offensive lineman in football. You don't want to know who they are. Now, sometimes I think that's changed because you know who Jason Kelsey is. Like he's
everybody knows who Jason Kelsey is. Yeah.
There's others that are very good at their job that you tend to learn, but like in a game, your typical person should not know the offensive line, because anytime that the offensive line comes up is when you miss a tackle, when you hold somebody at the wrong time, and you just
if you're doing your job, you're kind of running under the radar.
Umpires should be in the same boat.
Yeah.
Like you like the fans shouldn't know really who you are.
I should only know you after you retire, because we'll say, "Wow, what a great umpire!"
I didn't even know who you are. You're amazing.
You're the best. Aside from that performance today by Hunter, there was another game that went on. Yeah, Rodon had an excellent outing. Yeah. He went, I forget how many innings, but he went for a long time. Sorry. I didn't do a very good job here, but he didn't give up any runs. He gave up one hit, and that was towards the end of the fifth inning.
Yeah. He had a couple of hit batters today, which obviously the one was the one that gets called out, but it was a lot of because his stuff was like breaking really bad, really not bad, really well.
Yes, and all of them were good executed. There was actually 3 hits batsmen, and I think the third one was I think it was Ian Hamilton, and that one just literally rubbed up against the guy's knee, his the fabric on his uniform, and so each of them looked like they were well executed pitches, and so the hit by pitches weren't wild.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there are times where you're watching someone throw a ball and they hit somebody, and it's because they have no control of their pitching. But I thought that Rodon pitched really well. I think he had 4 or 5 strikeouts, which wasn't a big. It wasn't a high number for him, but going 7 innings, that's the first time he's gone 7 innings since 2022.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's to be expected because, 2023 was in between there.
Yeah, and bad. And but before the season started, what we were kind of hoping from Rodon was innings and getting a lot of innings under his belt, which meant that he was healthy and he must be pitching well if he's getting a lot of innings. So he's building up to a lot of innings, so that's a very good projection for Rodon, I would think.
Yeah.
I'm very happy.
Yeah, I mean, those are definitely things that, we'll talk more about the frustrations, but these are the things that you got to be focused on of positives, right? Rodon is pitching really well. And this is not like the first time in all season that he's pitched well. He's had multiple really good starts throughout the year. I think he's only had one start that was kind of.
I didn't think it was the first
not
start.
Great.
Each start,
well, wasn't it?
I think
gotten a little bit better. Yeah.
Yeah, each start he's gotten better each time, and he's gone longer.
Yeah, that's right. The first start, he worked himself out of trouble a lot. He never gave up like anything really bad, but it was not a great look. Like he was missing everywhere.
Like, oh gosh, if this is where we're at with Rodon, I felt a little uneasy. But he built on each
he's gotten a little bit better. He's been a little bit more confident.
And this last one definitely was 4 Ks, 2 walks, 1 hit, and over 7 innings. His ERA now is 2.70. So he's certainly being the number 2 guy we need him to be. I would say, our rotation all around just seems to be.
Yeah, this week has been actually pretty good. I mean, even with there's frustrations to be talked about, but that's on the other side of the ball. I don't think that there's much in the starting rotation that you can complain about. I think Ferguson has got to figure himself out if we're talking about any arms, but
yeah, I mean, our bullpen
outside of
talking just about the starting pitching for Heel had an excellent day yesterday.
Yeah.
Cortez,
and again, he's back on a schedule rather than being switched around. So I really think that it proves that last week Hill's bad start to the game was because he got uprooted from what he.
I would tend to agree with you. I think he seems to be an emotional or
player.
The in-game stuff. Like he got all flustered yesterday when there was runners on base and he had at least 2 balks yesterday. Or I said yesterday on Sunday. Yeah. I think he had 2 balks yesterday. And a balk to score a run. Yes, a balk to score a run, and then there was another somewhere. I know there was another one because it was seriously.
Yeah, he definitely gets nervous. He gets flustered. He cuts. Yeah, I mean there was an inning where he was pitching really well, and then to the point where he should have been able to get out of the inning very easily, and something happened. He got one person on base, then he got another person on base. It was I think it was around the 6th inning.
Yeah, it was the 6th inning. He got 2 outs real quick, then 2 walks. And then, and then he was taken out, and then there was an error, and then an out. But I mean, there's that. Then I think, the balk inning to score a run, he did that. He gave up a double to lead off that inning. Then there was an error. It says E1, and that must be. He tried to pick him off at second, and that's what happened. So he's at second, guy's dancing around, and he tries to pick him off, and he throws the ball into center field, so the guy gets third base. And then he's worried about him there. And when he
had some really weird move.
Yeah.
Too.
And then they called it a balk on him, so it scores a run. And then what does he do? He strikes out the next 3 batters. He's
get the batteries off the base, and now he's not worried about it.
He's all good. So I think if he can worry less. He got flustered when Angel Hernandez was not calling the strike zone like he should. He got flustered when he these batters are running around on the base.
Emotional player, somebody who
distracted.
Allows and there are players who who are emotional, but they learn to not.
Rodon's very emotional. Yeah. And so I think the only thing with Heel is he just needs to learn how to deal with these either distractions on the base paths, emotions with the umpire, and learn to channel those into the right way. Otherwise, I will take 9 strikeouts from that kid anytime. Anytime he pitches. That was a career high 9 strikeouts from him. Thank God we won. Because
again, bullpen didn't make it easy, but
no, they did not. Definitely tried to. Is that the one they tried to give up? Or we won? Yeah, we won 5-4.
Yeah.
So and that was Hamilton. It's between Hamilton and Fergie. Hamilton has been doing decent. I don't think he's as well as I thought he would be based on last year. I mean, I feel a little more nervous with him coming in.
He's been very good, and this year not so much.
Yeah, Hamilton. Last year I could just remember he comes in and I feel so much better. This year, not that I feel no.
Hamilton. I'm sorry, I thought you said Ferguson. Yeah, Hamilton. It's not. as secure either, for sure.
Yeah, and
His location doesn't seem consistent.
yeah, and I think today he was the one to put the runners on, or did they? No, I'm wrong. It was all
It's all Victor.
Victor Gonzalez, who we praised last pod, which, I still think he deserves his praise. He, probably
You're
put
gonna
one
have
in the
bad
wrong
starts. I mean, you
spot.
can.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so if we're gonna pick on anyone in the bullpen, I would think it'd be Fergie, who's twice now lost games late in the.
Yep. Yeah, he just can't seem to get outs, and I don't understand it because that's what he was really good at last year. I'm not sure what his righty lefty stats are, if it's a thing where he can't pitch against righties right now or something, but
maybe
there's something really off with something with him, and he's got to figure that out because, I mean, he was brought in to replace Wandy, and right now Wandy, he's got sub 1 ERA over in San Diego.
Miss Wandy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he our Wandy
I'm happy for
replacement?
him.
I guess I thought Gonzalez was our Wandy replacement, but
either of them.
either way, I mean, not
either
living
of
up
them
to
were
the
to be our
Wandy lore, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, on Wednesday, Cortez pitches, another
Cortez
gem.
it's another
7 innings pitched, 6 hits, but also 6 strikeouts, no walks, no earned runs, and takes a 0-0 game because our offense, we'll get to that, can't hit for shit. So our 0-0 game into extra innings.
Yeah, I mean, Rodon and Cortez have like very similar games. I think Nestor had more strikeouts. I think he almost had 10?
He
should have had 10. Oh, he had 6?
According to what I wrote down, I might
it was Heel. Heel should have had 10.
Oh, yeah.
There was 1 game that should have,
Yeah.
There was a call that should have gone his way. It didn't, and it ended up being a walk.
Oh, okay.
And then that's got him flustered to make the next walk.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And then so in Nestor's game takes that 0-0 into the 10th. We can't score. We can't score in the bottom of the 9th. So in the 10th, then, we got Manfred Man and then a double and a stolen base. And I don't know how they all scored, but there was a single. That's right. So like Ferguson just comes in and can't get 3 outs. I mean, I know you're starting with a man on base, but you're a reliever. I'm going to need you to just get people out. So that was bad. I mean, I think going into the season, if you had asked me what was going to be worrying me the most as far as pitching went, I would have told you starting pitching hands down without.
And that's been the strongest.
We've been so strong in that category.
Yeah. Anybody preseason would have said the Yankees' best strength is the offense and the rotation, or not the rotation, the bullpen.
Yeah.
The starting pitching
they'll
is
get
going
by
to be
because
their
they've got all this
issue.
offense and then the bullpen will hold it. Yeah, no, we've been relying on our starting pitching pitching really well, and they have been, especially over the last week plus. And we can get into our frustrations of just our offense is just not pulling through.
And I would say before we get into frustrations, the other, like while we're talking about positives along with the pitching, I will say like the alchemy, the chemistry, like everything within this team seems a lot better than last year, right? Like they aren't. I haven't seen, like, even today, it didn't look like anybody was like moping. I think we talked about before, like around this time, every year over the last couple of years, there is somebody who is one of the people who is not hitting well, that they're hitting like 100 and can't seem to not strike out anytime that they're up at bat. There's always some type of quote about something, blaming the fans or being, blaming Boone. Like, Hicks last year, I think Hicks blamed Boone for not playing him enough.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, how can he play you when
Did we get
suck?
that quote that early? Maybe not. I don't know. But I
don't know if it was that early, but it was early enough. And it's always like you have these players in the dugout you can just tell are bringing things down more.
Yeah, because they're moping around.
They're moping around. Yeah, Gallo the year before that had his own quotes.
Well,
had
probably Josh Donaldson is also causing,
Yeah, Josh Donaldson himself. I mean, he's saying stuff on the sidelines. Again, that was probably a little bit more later in the season. But yeah, I mean, you had a lot of players who were bringing things down. And despite some bad losses recently where the bats don't look good, I can't say like the team has gone out. Like, you don't see Volpe just,
I think the fire is still
or,
there with all of it.
they get a big hit and you still have Doogie,
absolutely.
barking
and I think the fire's still there. I do think, as before we talk about all the frustrations that they are all probably frustrated with their lack of hitting as well. And I'd imagine Judge is probably in every room he can be in, whether it's the video room, the batting cage, the whatever, trying to figure out where the hell what is going wrong and trying to fix it, because
I mean, he knows he's not. I mean, we'll get into Judge more, but he's even like, and again, this is kind of going to my point. Judge, after the game, they said he got booed, and we'll talk about the booing, but he said, I deserve to be, but like he took one from Stanton. I just like,
that's true. It was like an exact quote from Stanton. I'd boo me too. So
I'd be right there with him. I think that was his quote. I'd be right there with him.
Yeah. And so I mean, just to highlight, some of that atrociousness, we got, what did we get? 2 hits today. 2 hits today. There's a scattered amount of hits on the days we won. We've only scored in 3 innings in the last 4 games, by the way. We've gone 2-2, but we've only scored runs in 3 innings.
2
of those, like, total.
Because 4 games we were
shut out twice in the last 4 games. I mean, so either they're pressing because they know they're not hitting.
What a surprise that a former Yankee is the one who shuts us out.
I know. JP Sears today with the Oakland Athletics, making us.
Now JP Sears has, in the last 2 starts, was still good at whoever they played prior to that. He had 2 good performances prior to that. So it wasn't like, because other years we'll have a guy who shows up batting or with it is 6.8 ERA, and then it's like, he's going to shut the Yankees out today.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like that today. JP Sears is actually having a decent season, but it's just like, of course.
And JP Sears isn't like, he's a good pitcher, and I mean, he's not a stellar pitcher, but we did give him up for what did we get for
Montas.
him? Montas. That's right.
That was
what did we give him up for?
Great move.
Who's also probably pitching well for Cincinnati. I don't know, though.
I have no idea. I know he had one good start. Did he have one good start? Because I saw it. I was like, oh, well, good for you.
Good for you, Montas. But
yeah, I mean, it's definitely like, there's definitely a weird, like, even just outside of these 4 games, we talked about it, like, we're 2-2 these past 4 games. Les probably said we were 3-3. So obviously you can do the math quickly. That's 5-5. But in the last 2 weeks, last fortnight of games, we're 5-6.
Did you just do that?
I've been doing it the entire time. I'm surprised it took you that long.
Really? Well, I don't know. I haven't. I have not been binging the album. I only made it through the first album, and Fortnite is the first song on that first album. Yeah. So, and this
my wife has, and so her birthday's coming up. So,
this is for her. Okay, got it. You did this last year for her birthday too.
I know. I think I did it for her wedding last year.
Oh, you did it for the wedding. That's right. I just remembered there was. Yeah.
It was a lot easier because I was really mad and I could just do a rant at that time, and now I'm trying to actually do this just on the spot.
Oh wow. That's funny.
But anyway, in the last 2 weeks, we're 5-6 if you go back to the Miami loss. But like, I think everything like starts, to me, dates to the extra innings loss in Cleveland. Like, that's the loss of their life, right? Like, they were hitting well. They were doing everything that the Yankees had been doing up to that point this season. Like, yes, I mean, Miami was a loss. We lost one to Toronto before that. Like, those losses are expected. I mean, we're not going to win every game. We talked about it, I think, last podcast. We think we had, at one point this season, we've won 80% of their games. Like, had a 800 winning percentage. That's not going to happen. Right. We talked about it. 55 winning percentage is 55% of your games is 90 games. Like, that is a good season if you win that many games. 62% is 100 games. That's an amazing season. So, and then record wise, like 70% of games is record. Like, that's 1996 Yankees is 70%. So none of those are 80%. And so losses are going to happen.
Yeah, 80,
but
that's
that
not
loss in
sustainable.
Cleveland is where everything just starts to kind of go the wrong way from there, because you lose to Cleveland. That starts a 3-game losing streak. And post that game, I should have done more like research on like the batting differences before and after. But like Toronto, the bats were asleep for all but one game. Tampa, same thing outside of 3 innings. The bats just weren't there. And a couple of those games we were kind of gifted by a really bad relief pitching where they couldn't hit their marks at all. And good for the Yankees to take advantage of that and do that. I think the Rays also had a couple of errors that went our way. But that's where the frustration is for me, is like, even in our wins, it doesn't feel like we should have won. Like we could have very easily got swept by the Rays, just as easily as we should have swept them. They could have swept us.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is, watching the last week plus of games has been like, how do we still have a 15-8 record? It doesn't feel that way. That can be a good thing, the fact that they're still winning games while they look so trashy out there. Like, still finding ways to win, minus the days that they don't hit at all, like today. I mean, I think it's most frustrating when you lose a game to the damn Oakland Athletics that, like,
And I think that's what sends me into orbit more and makes me feel frustrated more, is because it's the Oakland Athletics. Like, you could lose to the Oakland Athletics. We've lost to the Oakland Athletics before. Like,
we get shut out by
but you get
Athletics?
shut out. Yeah, shut out where you don't even look good.
Now, like, listening to it today, JP Sears really was on his game.
He was pitching very good.
Even Soto, who basically everyone is saying is right now carrying the team, which arguably yes. Even he, struck out,
struggled
and didn't get it. I don't think he got a hit today. I think it was just Stanton and Volpe that got hits today. So, it's hard to know whether some of this stuff is they ran into some good pitching. Now, I think in the Rays series, you can certainly argue, no, that wasn't the problem. I don't think the Rays pitching was atrocious, but I don't think it was anything like we saw in Toronto. And even today, JP Sears, I think, had a better day than, and maybe he just maybe the Yankees just made him look better than he is, but he certainly seemed
sure.
And the ump helps when, you've got outside strikes being called. And again, they were called on both sides.
Ways, yeah. But I think one happened to Verdugo that I remember, and one happened, I don't know who the pitcher was, but it was in favor for Rodon.
Oh yeah, and I texted you and I was like, that might have what's the word I'm looking for? Challenge Angel Hernandez's worst call ever off the plate. Yeah. Like, it was pretty far off the plate.
It was pretty far off. Like, it was like, when I saw it, it was bad. The only difference is, and I'm not trying to give Hunter, whatever his name is, any credit. The only difference is that Angel Hernandez was breaking away from the plate. Like, it was a 2-seamer that cut away from the plate. And so basically the catcher's arm was going this way.
Right. It's like, okay, come on.
It's going. It's
not a framing, like, you can't. There's no tricking you into thinking this is okay.
Trevino, it was still way off the plate and should never have been called, but Trevino was pulling a slider in, so that he was pulling that one.
So it's
into the plate.
More understandable why it could be called a strike, regardless of,
But we talked about the umpires there. Yes, that's the only thing I can say. Not in his defense, just
sure.
When calling something like this is different than when the ball is going this way.
Yeah,
it's like
there's no shot. Yeah, like, what are we doing? But so I guess to me it's a little difficult to know. Like, did we just run into some bad luck here over the last few? But once bad luck continues to keep happening, you start to wonder what the hell's going on. I would also say that things like this happen over the course of a 162 game season. If this happened in a random, the second week of June, are we batting an eye this bad? Are we just like, what the hell is happening over the last, week of games? Like, let's get back
Yeah.
on this, we only have 25-ish, I don't know how many games to work with right now to judge based on how we think things are going to go. So that's why some of these reactions are a bit whiplash,
and I think we're
too.
all guilty of sin when we're watching games, and having that, we've talked about it before. Yankees Twitter, being the way Yankees Twitter is, like, everybody wants to send Judge to AAA. We're all guilty of, in some way, being angry over unrationally, or like not thinking clearly over what we're saying. Like, you and I both done it. We've texted each other like, "What the f- Judge? What the f- are you doing, Judge?" I think I texted you over the weekend, like, "Judge, like, you deserve to be booed. Like what the f- are you doing? Like, you like." I mean, I think in that game he swung and missed at stuff that you just should not be swinging and missing at. And while we're talking, when it comes to Judge, I think we were talking beforehand. Did he deserve the boos or not? I think overall he deserved it of how the fans are. Early, maybe in the season wise, but like the way he hit, like the way he swung in that game, just like, it wasn't about, to me, early or not early. It was just like what are you doing? You are way better a player than this. Like,
yeah, I mean,
that was the issue.
Even the announcers keep, saying, and as they pointed this out, I've noticed it too, like twice at least today, like pitches like right down, like right down the dick, like they're like right down the middle, and that's sorry, I'm on Twitter too much. They like and he's fouling him straight back or fouling him off, and like these are pitches that he would send into his swing. Yeah, so there is something off, and people are, is he injured? Is he injured? And I really don't think he's injured. I
think he's pressing. I think he's pressing too much. Yeah, and I think that's what most of them are. Torres is the same thing. He's pressing as much as he is. Volpe is, he's been coming into his own issues. I don't know if his is pressing. I think it's more of, we said this was going to happen. I think you said it. I don't know. Like, a lot of people are blaming it on going to leadoff. I mean, maybe that is the case. Maybe, when DJ comes back, it needs to be changed.
I think honestly is just a coincidence of timing. That he was so hot, he was going to fizzle out
when you're
a little bit.
450, you're gonna
come back down to earth for That's the reason averages are averages, and usually people look at your season averages. I think
Michael Kay said it. It's like, he's had such a hot start that eventually baseball was going to have to baseball and correct itself. He is in Michael Kay called it a correction slump.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good way to put it, because I'm not too concerned. His whiff percentage is still, like, his Savant page has cooled off a little bit, but his whiff percentage still at 88%. He's still
good. I mean, his strikeouts don't look like last year's strikeouts. Right. He's not swinging at things up here,
I will say that it does seem like his strikeout rate has gone up since being the leadoff batter. I would like to see how many pitches he's seen being a leadoff batter versus being 6th, 7th in the lineup, wherever he was hitting. And like that, if he, the whole goal is to see more pitches, and I still think he seems to be seeing pitches well still, but like, if he is pressing because he's trying to get on for Soto, for we know our offense is lacking, and so now everyone is pressing to try to get on and create a spark and create that
there's a lot of pressing happening.
Everyone's trying to push everybody over the hump to get that spark reignited.
When your goal, it becomes, instead of like, let's get hits, it becomes, let me send this into second or third row. Everything changes. And I know there are a lot of people out there who want to talk about how the home run ball is king, and it is. I mean, we all know that when the Yankees specifically are a good team, it's when they're hitting home runs, right? Obviously, the issue with the Yankees became that that's all they relied on. And we all know that you can't. Like, you can't only rely on the home run. And that's kind of what it feels like things have become, is when we lose, is like they start pushing for those home run balls rather than do what's been working this season. Get on base. If a home run happens, great. Obviously, a home run will open up the scoring very quickly. You get a couple guys on base, you get a 3-run home run, that changes the complete complexity of the game.
We scored
But
the other day. I mean, we haven't. What did you tell me before we started that we haven't had an extra base hit in like since the 17th?
April 17th, and outside of Soto.
Right, but that was right. You're right. Outside of Soto hit a home run in between since then. What am I
And
trying
I think
to
a
look?
double.
Yeah. So the big scoring inning where we scored 4 runs in the 5th for the Rays was walk single single single. That's how we like. Yeah. That's what that inning looked like, and so you could still
yes,
score
obviously
4
a grand
runs.
slam would have been amazing.
Would have been great, cool. But we still scored 4 runs off of the only thing that sucks is that happened in one isolated inning.
Yeah.
We had a score. Rizzo had an RBI single in the 1st inning, and then that one isolated inning for the 5th inning, and then that's been our offense over the last 4 games, aside from like a solo home run or a 2-run home run by Soto, I think.
Yeah.
So, or 3-run, I don't remember. But yeah, so that's the frustrating is watching all of this. They're better than this. It's really, really hard to pull yourself back and say like, but it is April. People are probably adjusting to them after what they've seen them come out with such a hot start and getting on base. All that, maybe they've just adjusted to people, and now the Yankees hitters need to adjust back and figure out what the hell is going wrong. It just always sucks when it all happens all at the same time,
Yeah, and we also all know that that Yankees Twitter, that people on Twitter, we talked about it before, and it's not everybody. Like I think that like my interactions on Twitter, like there's a lot of people who I really think have very level heads, but you always have those people, whether they're trolls or not, that are they're like part of like the tortured baseball fans department. I don't know. That was a stretch. I apologize, LG, but I couldn't throw in poets.
So, poetry with their bats or something. I don't know.
Yeah. But the point is that do you have people that just seem like they're a part of this club of just being, I don't know, depressed to being miserable, whatever.
I think it's a defense mechanism because that way they can't get crushed because they're so like happy about or being positive, and so then they either look like idiots or they're crushed at the end of it, and they're being defensive about that. They don't want to feel that.
Yeah,
and it's like you're not letting yourself enjoy a season.
Yeah. Yeah, and so and even in enjoying a winning season that we've had so far, there are still frustrations, and hopefully we get out of it. And that's what I think we were talking beforehand. Like my biggest thing is I'm just really hoping, and I still am positive and thinking that it is the case that this is the team we are not, and the team we were was the team that was winning games, coming back, seeing a lot of pitches, getting in on people starting pitching, and then taking advantage when the time came. I think that's the team we are, and that the early part of the season, the first half of the season so far, the first half of April, is who the Yankees are, and this is not. But like you said, it's such a small sample size that
it's hard to kind of
feels like both, It's
yeah. Well, they shared. Somebody shared a and I admit I don't know. I don't remember what the stat was. Bad. They shared like a graph from Aaron Judge since 2022. So including the season of the his 62 home run season, and basically it is showing the graph. And it's still consistent, even though he has these stretches throughout his career. Aaron Judge has these. The fact that it started from day one of this season, that sucks. But he has had
and
these
it kind of
stretches
into the end of last season too. Like
I
saw
know
something from something in 2023. I don't remember what date. It was in September of 2023. Since then, he's batted like 150 something. With 9 home runs.
Oh, it's our favorite stat. It's the WOBA stat. That was what it was.
Oh, yeah.
So, Aaron Judge 20-game rolling WOBA from 2022 to 2024. And I'm not going to, you've got small humps, you've got giant, spikes, where he's doing amazing, but where he's at right now is equivalent to certain like specific time points where, in 2022 he cooled off in the middle of those games, or it's
Yeah.
probably just baseballing right now, and he'll figure it out. He's Aaron Judge. His exit velocity is still at 93rd percentile, so very, very good. His walk percentage is at the 97 percentile, so he's still seeing the ball well. Despite him swinging at some of these pitches that he maybe wouldn't normally swing at. His whiff percent is pretty bad. But that's Aaron Judge, because when he connects with one, it's amazing. His barrel percentage is probably lower than it usually is, but it's at 74%. So it's not like he's not tanked there.
Right.
So I think we need to give him a little bit of time. We kept using spring training as an excuse, but maybe the delayed spring training start combined with pitchers getting right before Aaron Judge can get right has kind of thrown things off. And now he's screwed with his timing, or now he's changed something because he's got to fix something else. And so we've got a cascade of problems.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if you said this. A lot of people are blaming his hitting coach as part of this issue, but
no, I didn't. Yeah, I think
so,
I didn't say
and I don't really know if it's the hitting coach. I just,
I think it's easy to blame the hitting coach now that he's not hitting very well. He was praised. We all praised him when the Yankees in general were sucking, but Aaron Judge had his own hitting coach and he was amazing. And, but who knows?
Right.
Maybe,
and I think last year we talked about it because Matt Carpenter was using Judge's hitting coach when he was on that hot streak, and then he left and now he sucks. And everyone's like,
well, maybe he should have used his hitting coach.
So, yeah. People are going to...
They're going to attribute.
We said it before.
We don't know what's going on behind scenes.
So get blamed for one thing, or
So people are just going to attribute things to the easiest common denominator, and who knows what's going on. I guarantee you, Aaron Judge is working on fixing it, and Aaron Judge is one of the best baseball players that we have seen, and so I think he'll fix it. I think the outlook going forward is like I think they'll be okay. I think we just need to ride out a bad few days. Hopefully, you'd hope that the A's would get you back on track. So I think that's also part of the frustration. Part of the issue. Yeah, is like, like we didn't get back on track. Because last year
that I think we used like the A's came along and that
was
helped
part
us
of that.
Get back into we're getting back into it. Yeah.
And then again, but but you're right. And so the keys over the next 3 days are going to be to get to the starting pitching, because from what I understand today, listening to the broadcast, the A's have an excellent bullpen, and that Miller guy that came in at the end and struck out Volpe, Soto, and Judge he's got 102 mile an hour, 103 mile an hour pitches. Like, whew,
and the issue with him last year was that he could not find those targets.
Okay, he was wild.
He could throw, but so he'd walk a lot.
This man found his accuracy, and he was able to shut those three down like
He's
easy.
a young guy too. Last year was his rookie year, they
figured
things out, and he's going to be traded. He won't be on the Athletics.
Yeah, I think I saw somebody.
Athletics are allergic to
building up a program. Yeah. I saw somebody say like whoever gets him in July is going to really love him. But yeah,
Oakland is the type of team that like just likes to break their favorite toys. They
true or just sell them away.
I mean, how many players out there are on different teams? I mean, they think last year's playoff teams like had multiple.
Oh, always. It's you play the game like
athletics.
Were you a former Athletic or a former Nationals or a former Pirates player? Like
like the Braves have two of them, Olsen and
the catcher.
Sean.
I thought just start with an L. His last name.
No, we're doing really bad. I don't know why the name just left.
I'm good
my
at Yankee
brain.
Stuff. I don't claim to be good at anything else.
there are multiple players on multiple teams that were really good for the Athletics, and now.
Yeah, well, I think I said the key to getting to for the Yankees over the next 3 days is going to be to get to their starting pitching, because apparently their bullpen is amazing, and we really need to use these next 3 days to get hot again. And without trying to get hot, because that never works. So they just need to relax and chill and just be good hitters again. That's all. Done.
Yeah.
I can be
well,
hitting
hopefully,
coach.
is it Rosen or Romson? What's our
hitting coach?
Yeah,
Rousen.
Well, hopefully he's saying I can fix him, because that would.
Yeah, I think it is funny, the fickleness that you see with fans, the first 2 weeks of the season. He's a god, he's amazing, look what he's done to her, he's just
Oh, yeah, now everybody's like blaming him, and it's like...
No wonder we're so terrible. It's like, what?
Yeah, it's hilarious how quickly people can, like you said, being fickle about it.
Yeah.
Like, it's silly.
This would never happen to Jeter.
Jeter got booed.
Jeter definitely got booed. I think you said Jeter got booed mostly in August. Not mostly in August, but it would happen in August.
Yeah, I think the boos. My opinion on Judge's being booed. Judge's response is perfect. I would not tell any fan that they shouldn't boo Judge. I don't think I would boo Judge in April. I mean, he's Aaron Judge. I'm not going to tell you not to. And
my thing is not. It was more that game specifically of we haven't gotten a hit. You're the damn captain of the team, and you are swinging at shit.
And that's why I'm not going to tell you. That's why I'm not going to tell you not to boo. I mean, I'm not going to tell you not to. That's shit. Like, what are you doing? Like, you need to do better. You're supposed to be patient at the plate, and like I can understand sometimes umps might pressure you into hitting something you out of the zone that you otherwise would let go, but like you can't use that excuse this much.
Absolutely.
Like and not that he is using that excuse, but like that can't be the excuse. I don't think he is. He, from what I hear, he's exactly what he's the captain of the New York Yankees for a reason. He handles the media very well and takes accountability well. So I don't think that's.
And I'm also curious, like we're here in Florida, but I wonder, that's the whole reason why we're the damn Yankees or whatever, because we're kind of away from the fans in New York. No. But I'm curious of what, like, because I'm sure at your work, Megan, you don't have Yankee fans all around. But if we lived in New York, we would. So I'd be curious as to, is this how Yankee Twitter is only? Or is this how, like, is it the same vibe of people in New York?
I think it's the same vibe. I mean, if you listen to the fan, if you live WFAN, you hear callers call in, and sometimes it's worse. Sometimes it's worse. You hear them complaining, and they actually do want to send Aaron Judge down, or they at least want to bench him.
Did we talk about that yet? About how crazy that?
Not this week.
That is, like. I don't know, like whether you're a type of person who's like, I love him or you hate him right now, which I cannot believe that you hate Aaron Judge. I can understand being frustrated with him, but
no, I mean, anybody seriously saying send him down is
send him down. Like, do you not understand baseball?
Yeah,
that's my only question there. He signed a major league contract. He's not Aaron Volpe.
He's not working on service
Anthony
time
Volpe.
here.
Right, yeah. He's not an arbitration player, which means he does not have options. He signed a major league contract.
Yeah, which means you DFA him to send him down, which means somebody else is picking him up. I think the only
option out there, that Phantom IL, sure.
That is the only rational thing that if that person means send him down, that's the only rational thing they could mean is Phantom IL him so that you can let him work.
Well, they should say that, not make themselves look like idiots. Down. I agree. And say send them to AAA. Let's keep everybody accountable. Like what? First of all, who are you bringing up that's going to realistically do better than Aaron Judge? Like you're not.
And speaking of holding people accountable, Gleybor Torres has had blunder and airheadedness after airheaded. They after we said they won it, they started Jahmai Jones in a game, and he needed it. That is the game. Isn't that the game we lost?
0-2. Yeah, and that's because literally the rest of the lineup, like you have your first four hitters, and the rest of the lineups are just those are easy outs.
We start so the game that we lost with Tampa, we started Jahmai Jones, we started Grisham.
It was a full on
Wells
Punt
started
lineup.
that game. We didn't even talk about Wells' struggles. Because Trevino has been hot. So these are two signs that should be good to you people, to Yankee fans. It's good. It's a good sign to me. Boone sat Torres when he was having airheaded blunders and put Jahmai Jones, who we know isn't going to hit, into the lineup just to say, hey, Torres, I could sit you even before DJ comes back.
Yeah.
I mean, I took that. That's what I took it as. Like, because really, I don't think they want Jahmai Jones in the lineup. Like, it doesn't. I just spit everywhere. Sorry.
Yeah.
And then what was the other thing? Oh, they've kind of shifted to having Trevino in there because he is hot. Now, Wells has the potential to.
I mean, he's hitting balls hard. It's just
He's hitting in.
he's
But
also
we've already
missing a lot of pitches.
Yeah, he is missing, and then but when he connects well, and they're pretty unlucky.
They're just finding gloves. Yeah.
But they sat him for Trevino, who was kind of, until maybe the last 5 games, they were sucking equally.
Yeah,
the two of them.
Yeah.
So I would just say like that. At least Boone does seem to be this. That's a different mentality than last year.
Yeah, and if you're looking for over the course of the season, we've said it already, like way too soon to be mad over these things. One of the things to me last year, or not last year, 2 years ago, I don't know if I already said this or not, but 2 years ago, we were winning games early on. 2022 was amazing. Like we were getting to those milestones. Like this year, we hit 10 wins before any other team, like hours before the Dodgers did it. And we were getting, but we not only did that, we got to 20, 30, 40, 50 wins before any other team did. Right. But one of the things that's not talked about with that is everything was going right. Like we were having pitchers. We had 1 week of pitchers where they were all throwing going into 6th inning. Like for a week stretch, our starting rotation was going 6 innings, no hitting, like the other team. Our rotation was good. Chapman looked amazing at the start of 2022. I remember we talked about like, early Chapman.
That was Spider Tack year, right? Because then he sucked.
No, that year was
that not?
I thought 2021 Spider Tack year. He started off pitching really well. Like part of the issue is that he was relying so much on his slider in years before, and he got away from throwing his fastball. And that year, he started throwing his fastball more, like as his highly dominated pitch. I mean, it was always his number one pitch, but he was hitting the spots really well early in the season. Now, obviously, there's some other things that happened, but it was a perfect storm in the beginning of the season where everything was hot. The team was hot, everything was hot, and we were winning games.
Mm-hmm.
Once one thing went wrong, everything started going wrong. One of the biggest differences to the start of this year is nothing's firing on all cylinders. Even in the early season when we were winning 80% of the games, we went,
still had to come back in a lot of those games.
Nothing was firing. I mean, Judge has not been firing on any cylinders this season. So that's where my positive outlook is for the season, is that once things, I'm hoping soon, and hopefully the rest of this athletics series gets us going, but hopefully soon, once those gears start turning, we're going to be winning more and more series. We've only lost 1 series this season. Yeah. That's another thing to remember.
That's very important. I think from going forward, the biggest things are, it's April, it's early. We still have a very good, one of the better records in baseball. Might not be the best anymore, but we have a team of very good hitters. They'll figure it out.
And those teams that are going through bad stretches are also. Our good stretches are going to go through their bad stretches.
Yeah.
We just talked about the Dodgers. Us and the Dodgers were the first teams to 10 wins. The Dodgers now have 12 wins.
The Red Sox have a better record than the Dodgers, don't they?
Yeah.
Didn't I see that?
Yeah. The Dodgers they're not playing good right now. And everybody's saying, oh, look, the Dodgers are cooked. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're going to make the playoffs. Their
it's like
offense is stacked.
They're going to figure it out. Your team in April is never the same team as as it is in September, like injuries or just going through adversity and figuring yourselves out. Like, you could have the exact same lineup, but you're a different team because you figured things out better. So I think we give it time, we figure it out. We did forget to mention, or I forgot to mention, that Schmidt also has been doing very well. There was one
Schmidt
stat
had a good start
I wanted to bring up that was that he is 8th. I saw James Smythe from Yes posted this today, that he's 8th on the MLB leaderboard for getting called strikes and swings and misses. That's a 32.6%. So he's 8th in all of out of all MLB pitchers. And so this is the percentage of all pitches that are either called strikes or are whiffs. So that's very good. Yeah. Those are, we love those. Yeah. So Schmidt
I
has
hope
been
that
doing
this
well.
continues. I hope this is the question we make. So you know how like we had the question earlier of what
happens when Cole comes back?
DJ comes back.
Oh.
I hope that I'm saying what happens when Cole comes back. I hope that we're still having that question
of now they're all doing so well.
Yeah.
Who do we,
who do you put into the bullpen?
Last week I would have told you, Nestor isn't looking so hot. Maybe he should be the one that goes to the bullpen, or that one game with Heel. I don't know. His emotions get to him. Maybe he should go to the bullpen. Yeah. But they all are holding their own as starting pitching. So I think, at least hold on to that as a positive and hope that continues so that, and then our hitting will find itself.
Last year, I think we held on to hope even when I remember we were looking at we were kind of we were counting games at the end of the season. Oh, we can, so if we can do it with a broken heart, then we can do it while we are.
Yeah, I think give it some more time before we're putting the season in the trash can, and let's see how. Let's give it a few more months before that.
All right. Well, moving on. Dummy question time. Unless there was anything else you wanted to bring up.
I don't think so.
All right. So, dummy question from LG was, and she was very insistent on this. She was like, so Judge had a bobblehead night recently where the game was, I think it was Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday was the same one. They did the John Sterling tribute they had. So that
was not very good.
No, you didn't like it?
His part of it was good. Thing was
good. You
just
didn't like that they gave him a TV?
Gift? Yeah, like what the hell?
Yeah,
give him spot on the why would you not give him a spot on Monument Park?
I don't know why they didn't.
It's not a number. You don't have to do a number. You just say this is your plaque. Yeah. Like you've been a part of this franchise forever. Well, you can throw in the TV as a side thing, but
maybe they will at another time. Yeah, it does seem odd that they didn't give him a plaque.
To me, that was a very poor taste, missed opportunity.
Gave him
no one talks about the
something-inch TV and a
shirt.
Oh yeah, they gave him a jersey with the consecutive number of games that he's called whatever.
Right.
They gave him a trophy or like a little tchotchke thing. It was a microphone plaque on a.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Sterling silver.
Which.
It was sterling silver. You're right. Yes.
There you go.
Because sterling.
Yes, he deserved. We haven't talked about him on the podcast. He deserved to get his flowers a bit better than he did. I know. I think he.
I don't think it talks about the TV. If you've given him a spot on Monument Park, he deserved it. You've given other people who weren't.
Yeah.
I think who was the guy who like Jeter.
Bob Shepard
used his Bob Shepard. Thank you. He's got a spot in Monument
Bob
Park,
Shepard,
doesn't he?
Yeah, I think he does. The voice of the Yankees.
Yeah.
He's
the radio voice of the Yankees.
One thing that they have changed too, we've always wanted them to distinguish between they play Frank New York after wins or losses, and it's like, come on, why are we doing this after a loss? There is now one distinction between wins and losses. When the Yankees win, they get John Sterling saying the Yankees win, and then they go into New York. So at least it's small. I know. I agree. He should be. He should have a plaque in Monument Park that voice of the Yankees for 30-something years. That So I mean, he was
Give him his
the
due.
like he was the radio voice for Jeter's entire career. Jeter didn't play a single game that
Without
John Sterling didn't
call.
Yeah,
so on the radio. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
So
I think the TV thing came
disappointing.
because he's like made comments or has talked about having like 6 TVs in his house or something, or 7 TVs in his house, and
and they joked that he was on the field. He's like, I don't even know where I'm going to put this. Like,
yeah, it's huge. I mean,
it's huge. I mean, it's I thought my 73-inch TV was big.
Boone, you're going to drop that thing. Like, I was yelling at Cliff, like, why isn't he carrying it by the handle? He's just like holding it like this. And
he's holding it like this. And Torres in the back was holding it correctly.
Yeah, his was, it was like sloped down like that.
I think it's funny that they forced Torres to.
I know, he wasn't in the
lineup.
Yeah, he wasn't in the lineup. They're like, you, come on, haul the TV. So, but yeah, that was.
You're not doing nothing.
Yeah, get up, let's go. But yeah, that was Sterling.
It comes off more poor taste if they had given him, I think, Monument Park.
It does. I mean, it's the Yankees. It's the Yankees, and you got a plaque, a jersey, and a TV that probably cost them what did it cost them? $500, $800?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, 80-inch TV, probably, but it's the Yankees. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
I don't know.
That's the big issue.
Could have gotten a little something else from it.
Anyway, going back, that day was Judge's bobblehead day, and then there's also been a lot of promotion for Garrett Cole's Jedi Cole
and Mr.
Day.
He was like, "When is that?" I was like, "I'm pretty sure it's May the 4th." He was like, "Well, like, are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then it came up
it's
in the commercial, May the 4th. I was like, "See, I told you. Why wouldn't it be May the 4th?"
So, and so basically LG was like, wait, so Cole had one, and or not Cole had one, Judge had one, and now they're promoting the crap out of this Cole one. Like, what is the
what's with the bobbleheads?
What's with the bobbleheads? Like, why? Like, why bobbleheads? So we did a very minimal amount of research today. Just
we Googled
on the pod. So bobbleheads have been around since as early as the 1700s, and some say the 1800s is when they began. But baseball started them in the 1960s. They went away until the Giants brought them back in the 1990s, where they did a Willie Mays bobblehead day. They did for like the first 35,000 fans that came into the game, and it sold out. Fans loved them, and so basically they put 2 and 2 together. Oh, we get higher attendance. People come to these games. Let's do a bobblehead night.
We'll give them a cheap toy if they come to the game. Yeah,
it probably costs them absolutely nothing to make. I mean,
very minimal, and they're getting big ticket sales out of giving away to not even everybody who comes to the park. So
and part of it too, right? And so let's say it's the first 20,000 fans that show up to the game. It's such a smart way of doing that too, because now people are coming early. Guess what they're going to do if they're coming there that early? Spend more money. They're going to eat. They're going to, get more chicken buckets.
Yeah.
So
they're gonna, exactly.
So I don't know what the fan thing is. I mean, there's a lot of people collect them. We went down to a Miami game last year, and the Miami owner had a collection displayed at the stadium.
Yeah. Huge display of like tons of and from not just baseball players too, and mascots too in there, like baseball players, mascots, and other. I think there were some basketball players. I forget. I took a picture of a bunch of them, but like he had a huge.
I don't know what it is with little figurines. I mean, you sitting behind me is two.
You got the Funkos behind you.
The Funko Pops where that Cliff's got them.
Oh yeah. I mean, everyone loves.
There's a lot of people who likes those little tiny things.
People love little tchotchkes. They make good gifts too. If I'm not a fan of this, but my little nephew, he'd love it. So here you go. But
speaking of like gifts and things like that, did you see the number of people who went to these games? It wasn't just at this one. I think one happened at the Dodgers. The Dodgers had some type of bobblehead night for somebody as well. I don't know if it was for Ohtani or somebody else, but anyway, they had one, and people are like going there and collecting them and then selling them. They're like, all right, if you didn't get one,
that's
I don't like that.
I don't like that either. And especially since you got it
you're taking advantage of something that you got for free.
Yeah, and you're collecting them inside. I guess somehow he must know people who didn't want them and just was grabbing them, or he or she.
Yeah, it must be.
I don't know
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that's shitty. You shouldn't like if you're
Don't
gonna
be
do
that
that, just
guy.
sell yours or whatever.
Yeah,
But
don't be that guy.
yeah, that's silly. I did there is just another fact about bobbleheads. I guess there's a there's a Hall of Fame and museum of the
Oh
National
yeah.
Bobblehead Hall of Fame and Museum in Milwaukee. So all of
So
our
if we ever go to
fans
a
listening
Brewers
to this
game,
in Milwaukee, tell us how that is. But yeah, if we ever go to a Brewers game, it'd be something to check out for sure. But I wonder. I mean, if the owners the owner in Miami,
I mean, yeah, I mean,
he's a pretty big
huge.
collection. So like, I can't imagine how like the entire.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if they had earthquakes or something? I wonder if they put I'm sorry, I'm interrupting myself, but the Miami owners, the display case like shook slightly, like there's a slight vibration to it, so that the bobbleheads are constantly. I bet they do that in the museum too. That like whatever display cases they're in are constantly moving.
It's constantly moving.
My head just went to that'd be funny if it was
an
earthquake.
Funny to see an earthquake,
like a mild earthquake, like they had in New York the other day, like like last week or whatever.
Yeah, nothing too crazy.
Nothing too crazy. Not wishing anything crazy on Milwaukee.
Just a cone that falls down and
just
shake some
a little more
bobbleheads.
shake, a little extra shake for the bobbleheads that day. Yeah.
Well,
anyway, but I hope Lord Grace enjoyed our rudimentary.
Rudimentary, very minimal
history on bobbleheads.
Lesson on bobbleheads. It's basically money.
Yeah, why do they do it? Because people come to the park, people will collect them, and I think they're cute. I mean,
it's the same marketing strategy as Happy Meals.
Truth. Happy Meals for adults and kids too, but plenty of adults want those bobbleheads.
Get yourself a bobblehead.
Absolutely.
So. Anyway, so coming up next is a very long stretch of games for the Yankees. We're actually in the middle of that long stretch. The Yankees don't have another break until May 6th.
Wow.
So a lot of games. There's going to be a lot of movement going around. Hopefully we get to May 6th. Still, hopefully we claim first place at some point.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
But
yeah, hopefully, between now and then we figure out our hitting a bit, and everybody feels a little bit better about the Yankees. Do remember how to hit, and we're not all just saying, "Please wait, everything will be fine."
Yeah. In between now and the next podcast will be the rest of this Oakland series, where Aaron Boone will be fresh out of the slammer, and then sorry, that was the last one. I had to get it in there.
Oh, was that a thing? I should have studied up on all the Taylor Swift.
And then Milwaukee. We're traveling to Milwaukee and on Friday. Maybe I am surprised looking at the schedule. I'm surprised Thursday is not an early game.
Yeah, why did they have the early game today on Monday?
I didn't really understand that at all. Like, it should have been on Thursday to give yourself more time.
The A's must be staying on the East Coast. That's my only guess. They must be staying.
They could have a day, an extra time to rest too.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, they didn't need the time to travel back, so that's the only way it makes sense, is if they were headed up to Boston instead of out to California. Like,
let's see, where are they going next? Friday they play in Baltimore. So yeah. That's the only way it makes sense for them not to have an earlier game. But anyway, yeah. Well, anyway, so it is those two series will be good, and Milwaukee's playing a lot better than we expected them. I thought we all had them kind of in the low
mid range
side of their division, and they're leading it now. Corbin Burns,
yeah.
So
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully we are in a better mood. We'll be back on Sunday. We'll be back filming on Sunday the 28th. You'll see it later. But yes.
On Monday.
So Wendelstedt.
Oh, he was researching.
I was researching. No definitive answer as to where it comes from, but I suspect it's Dutch. Because the largest concentration that I found online exists in South Africa, which was colonized by the Netherlands.
Oh, all right. How about
Well,
that?
if Joop, my friend from the Netherlands, if you're listening, let us know.
Oh,
is that a Dutch last name?
Oh, it's we joke about if you're listening in the Netherlands, but I was looking at the statistics. You want to know where our number one performing location for the YouTube channel is? Not the Netherlands, Dublin, Ireland.
The number one. It's all our relatives over there.
So if you're one of our Irish listeners,
how did you find us?
Yeah, how did you find us? Could you leave a comment, please? I want to know.
I would like to confirm this, or are you just on
unless
some
there's
VPN?
People I was going to say, unless someone's on a VPN that they use for Dublin.
Also,
maybe.
I feel like that's got to be it, right? If you're from Ireland and watching us, please let us.
Yeah, seriously.
That's
if you use a VPN
amazing.
That you use for Ireland, also let us know.
Also let us know.
Because I'm a
Please comment. It helps. Because I'm a tell. We use her.
Well, anyway, whether you're from Dublin or from the Netherlands or from our
Florida,
from our family, thank you.
Or New York.
There we go.
Thank you for listening to us babble on about the Yankees every week. You can catch more of us on, again, I say it every week, Cliff does a really good job of posting clips and different things to the Instagram and Twitter feed. So follow there at @DamnYanks_pod, as well as on Threads at DamnYanksPod at Facebook. Push the subscribe button wherever it is on YouTube, the notifications button, and then if you do on Spotify, same thing. So
maybe if he uploads it.
Yeah, LG's been getting on you the past couple weeks on that one.
So now he'll remember. Thanks, LG.
Well, anyway, thank you guys all for listening, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.
See ya.